Satire is not a genre typically associated with kids' movies. In the genre, the themes usually depict a societal norm and exaggerate it to its fullest extent in an attempt to show its inherent absurdity in the first place. One of the best features of the genre is that it can encompass and bleed into others. You want to see a satire that's also a psychological thriller? You got Fight Club, a film where emasculated men in modern society find a spiritual awakening by beating the shit out of each other in an underground fighting ring. You want a satire with sci-fi action? You got RoboCop. Horror, The Substance. You get the picture. What makes the Dreamworks film Over the Hedge a unique spin on the genre is that, on the surface, it looks like a generic kids movie with animals. That's not to say films or shows of this nature, no pun intended, can't have a bit more substance or nuance to it. It's just I think when one imagines a kids movie starring a bunch of cute woodland creatures fighting back against humans, it usually ends up being something like Furry Vengeance starring Brendan Fraser. Yeah, anyone remember that? But Over the Hedge is a Trojan horse of satire. While the advertisements had you believe it was about a bunch of animals stealing food from humans in the suburb, what lies underneath is actually a scathing critique of American consumerism and makes us reflect on what we prioritize as a culture. Now, to those thinking this whole video is going to be a pretentious examination of a kids film from almost 19 years ago, yeah, you'd be right. The film presents characters with the option of two paths in life, the way of the selfish and the selfless. There are four characters in particular who showcase this best, two having to choose their paths, and two others who have already chosen. The film starts out showing the protagonist, RJ, reaching for a bag of chips in a vending machine and yet never quite getting it. He tries every means of obtaining it until he finally decides to go into the cave of a bear and take his stash of food for hibernation. He steals everything but is tempted into stealing one last thing, a can of chips. That, unfortunately, wakes the bear, whose name is Vincent, up, leading to a series of events where the food is destroyed and he gives RJ a chance to get it back by the end of the week, or he'll hunt him down and kill him. While this may seem like the general setup for the plot, the significance of RJ's obsession with chips is the thematic representation of RJ's misbelief about life, that being, enough is never enough. There are moments sprinkled throughout the movie where RJ is given a choice to confront this misbelief, but every chance he's given, he falls back into his old ways. Even though he's a raccoon, RJ is shown to be highly intelligent and fascinated with human culture. From what we can tell, he has always been alone, trying everything he can to just barely make it by. In this dog-eat-dog world, or in this case, bear-eat-raccoon world, human culture appears to be a paradise. To him, if there's any species that has figured it out, it's humans. Whenever he runs into a pack of animals outside the suburbs, he tries to enlighten them by showing how humans live in the modern world. If they want to survive the upcoming winter, the animals have to learn how to adapt. He shows them how in the human world, they never have to worry about food because they are so advanced. They don't even eat to live. They instead live to eat. In this monologue, we're shown how food is eaten, how it's transported, and even to a certain extent, worshipped. While the animals are enthralled with this new source of food and commodities, the leader of the pack, Vern, is suspicious of everything RJ is saying. But this doesn't stop the rest of them from engaging in thievery of the suburbs, or stop RJ's exploitation of their naivety to save himself. While RJ's perception of human culture is somewhat limited, his analysis is spot on in one regard, that being humans' constant desire to consume. It's not just limited to food. In the modern age, it's quite difficult to not come across advertisements or influencers online encouraging us to buy or consume whatever they have. We need this new line of makeup. We need this new brand of clothing, this new house, this new sports car. Though the film showcases this display of modern consumerism in the form of food, I think another representation of modern consumption is represented in the hedge itself. The goal of a hedge is simple: keep the wild out of suburbia. But another way it could be seen, which I think the film is ultimately showcasing, is how humans will continue to expand and take what they think is theirs without regard of what or who it affects. Even though RJ calls the hedge
the gateway to the good life,
why would a force that claims to be good come into fruition at the cost of everything around it? As the film goes on, we get a better look at the suburbs and the people who inhabit it, in particular Gladys Sharp, aka the OG Karen. On the surface, this woman looks very professional and sophisticated. She dresses in nice business attire, she's got a nice SUV, but we can see in conversations she has with people on the phone or in person, she's, how do I put this, annoying. In my rewatch, I couldn't help but notice how much she relates to the character of Vern. While Vincent, the other antagonist of the film, is the personification of what RJ could become if he continues down the selfish path, Gladys is the personification of what Vern deals with, that being his desire for control. Since RJ has entered the pack, he has become the unofficial leader of sorts, while Vern and his old ways have fallen to the wayside. Vern is shown to be very caring and protective of his pack he refers to as a family. However, this desire of protecting his family manifests out of a place of jealousy, not wanting to adapt to RJ's way of collecting food and disrupting the status quo. Like Vern, Gladys is a figurehead of power, being the president of the Homeowners Association, and anyone who has had to deal with people like that knows they can be insufferable control freaks. While her desire to keep the neighborhood safe and pleasant for the people there can be seen as noble, the way she goes about berating them for the most minor of offenses is an inherent abuse of power, which in turn is an act of selfishness. She wants a world of order and peace, but only if she's the one in control. As the animals cause more mayhem, Gladys goes as far as to call an exterminator who uses outlawed traps and weapons as a means of capturing them. Towards the climax of the film, when RJ has a change of heart and tries to rescue the pack from the Verminator, we think they have successfully gotten away over the hedge, until it's shown that Vincent, the bear, is on the other side waiting for them. The pack becomes stuck in the hedge, trapped between two worlds, both sides wanting to kill them. Just through its visuals, this sequence is the amalgamation of themes explored in the film brought to their ultimate conclusion. As I mentioned earlier, the goal of a hedge is to separate the wild from civilization. But in this moment, we're shown a bear doing what we come to expect a wild animal like that to do: hunt and kill all in its path. But on the other side, the supposedly sophisticated and civilized society, we see a man with a taser and a woman with a weed whacker essentially foaming at the mouth at the chance to end what threatens their selfish existence. Just because we are more advanced as a species does not mean we aren't capable of the same animalistic brutalities displayed in nature. As the scene goes on, the advanced trap Gladys had placed in her yard ends up trapping her, the Verminator, and Vincent, giving the animals a chance to escape into the forest. Since it was an illegal weapon she was harboring in her backyard, the police arrest her and the Verminator while Vincent is taken away by animal control. The significance of this moment is contrasted with the animals on the other side, as RJ is embraced as a new member of this found family. The film effectively demonstrates the outcomes of paths people take in life. While those who choose the selfless path, that being RJ, are rewarded with long-lasting relationships and connections, those who end up choosing the selfish path will eventually end up with nothing. When I saw this film for the first time since I was a kid, I was amazed by the foresight this film gave us about the world and where we were headed as a society. Though this came out 19 years ago, the film's message about the dangers of consumerism, quick self-gratification, and this look out for number one mentality have not only become more prevalent in our society, but I would argue the norm. The modern world has prioritized wealth and material possession as not only a necessity of life, but the point of it. Now with the added baggage of social media and the ever-increasing loneliness epidemic, there are wolves in sheep's clothing telling us to acquire more to be desirable to someone, or just acquire wealth for the sake of it because you don't need anyone else but yourself. This isn't to say that achieving goals or buying nice things is inherently a bad thing, even though this film has somewhat been rediscovered in recent years as a brilliant critique of consumerism and by extension capitalism. I think it's important to point out that just because the film critiques the way our society operates doesn't mean that it's inheriting a certain political persuasion. The truth is, even though our society tempts us with these lavish lifestyles and commodities, that's honestly all they are: temptations. And the thing about temptation is that it's already inside us. Having selfish desires is a part of being human, but giving into it, acting on it, that's a choice. As the characters learned in the movie, life can be hard, it can be unfair, but when you make the accumulation of wealth, the gluttonous desire to consume, the point of your existence, you will never find peace, you will never be whole, and you will never find joy. What will bring those things is learning to appreciate what you have. It's cherishing those who love and want what's best for you. It's about being part of a family, by blood or found. When you have that as your bedrock or something you can trust and rely on, you'll find out the occasional McDonald's or splurging at the mall really isn't that bad because you'll no longer rely on those things to feel whole. When you accept this truth, you'll find the real gateway to the good life.